Before we begin, I just want to tell you all that today is Morris's birthday, so don't forget to wish him and bless him. Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome to my Treasure the What. Hope you are doing good.
So, this week I was thinking and reflecting about what should I paint, and God highlighted one of the stories from my life. So, I felt I need to talk about beauty and paint something around the topic of beauty. But today we are going to do something different. Morris is going to join me at the table and we both will be working on two different paintings.
But both paintings will be connected and both will highlight this very important truth that you and I and all of us are all beautifully and wonderfully made by God. And honestly, this is a message I think we all need to get to hear over and over again. Because let's face it, life has a way to make us keep forgetting who we really are in God's eyes.
So today I am going to be painting a picture inspired by Isaiah chapter 64 verse 8, which says, O Lord, you are our Father, we are the clay, and you are potter, and all we are the work of your hand. I love this image so much because I can picture it in so much detail. Think about it. The clay in the hands of the potter has no say over what it's going to become or how it's going to look in the end. It's the potter who carefully shapes it, smooths out the rough edges, adds the right curves, the right proportions, and this is exactly what God does with us. Sometimes we look at ourselves and only see cracks, flaws, and mistakes. Can you relate to this? Before we proceed, I would like to share a story from my life. In my early teenage years, I started getting pimples on my face. You know, as we grow, we start looking a lot different than we used to look as children. So, what happened with me when I got pimples was that my closest friend started mentioning it over and over again since she didn't have any pimples. She just couldn't relate to me. And one day, she pointed out my pimples in front of a guest, and I felt very insulted and embarrassed. As it is, I was already dealing with the changes in my appearance, but now my friend constantly pointing it out and even mentioning it in front of others intentionally really discouraged me. I felt ugly and I struggled to look directly at people because I thought people would feel disgust when they see me. So I would always hang my head low and look at the floor when I was around people. And that feeling of ugliness led me to wanting to end my life because that became my reality. And I really felt like God wasn't helping me in this situation. But after many years, light entered my darkness, and this verse from Psalms 139 came alive to me. It's verse 14, and it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that fully well. You know, I have a very bright core memory of dancing and praising God for making me beautiful. And within a few weeks, I could see the reality manifesting around me. And people from whom I least expected started coming and praising and telling me that I look beautiful. So, as I was saying earlier, we have a tendency to look at ourselves and only see the cracks, flaws, and mistakes. Or maybe if we don't see them, someone else will point them out to us. But the potter only sees potential, purpose, and beauty in the making. He doesn't rush. He is patient, intentional, and every single detail matters to him. Your pimples, acne, or scars don't define your beauty, but only God defines your beauty. In fact, He calls you His masterpiece. As we can see in Ephesians 2:10, for we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus, so we can do the good things He planned for us long ago. Isn't that amazing? God calls you His masterpiece, not an accident, not a reject, not a mistake, not ugly, but His masterpiece.
Wow, I'm still letting what Charlotte just shared sink in. We are all God's masterpieces. Isn't that amazing? That means we're all works of art, uniquely, carefully, and purposefully crafted by a loving Father's hands.
That's so good, right?
Yeah. Anyways, so for today, I'll be painting a picture of the Ark of the Covenant, and I'll be sharing a revelation that I got some years ago around the Ark of the Covenant. But before we proceed, I'd like to share a bit of my story as well. So, out of the three of us, that is me and my brothers, I'm the shortest. As you can see in this picture, we're not only standing age-wise, we're also standing height-wise. So my growth was slightly delayed, and for most of my life, I was extremely conscious about my height. I mean, it was bound to happen. Imagine growing up always being the first one standing in your classroom's assembly line because we were made to stand based on our height. Imagine being bullied for most of your schooling years based on your height, being called mean names, being unable to save yourself in a fight because everyone's bigger than you, not being the best at certain sports because of a height disadvantage. I was even called mean names by some of the kids from the youth of the church I used to go to as a child, to the point where it really became a major part of my identity. I always saw myself slightly inferior to many guys who were taller than me. Now, mind you, I had a good enough life. I can't really complain. But the height issue was definitely something I was dealing with for a long time. Eventually, I accepted the fact that this is who I am, and I started cracking jokes about my height with other people. It really helped ease the situation. Crack a joke before they do and laugh along with them. It's not like I planned it or something. It was just something that developed in me as I grew older. A kind of coping mechanism to deal with what I was going through. But one day, when I was reading the story of the Ark of the Covenant, something stood out to me. So let's read about the Ark before we proceed any further. I'll be reading from Exodus 20:10 to 22. And they shall make an ark of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits shall be its length, 1.5 cubits its width, and 1.5 cubits its height. And you shall overlay it with pure gold, inside and out you shall overlay it, and shall make on it a molding of gold all around. You shall cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in its 4 corners. 2 rings shall be on one side, and 2 rings on the other side. And you shall make poles of acacia wood, and overlay them with gold. You shall put the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark, that the ark may be carried by them. The poles shall be in the rings of the ark, they shall not be taken from it. And you shall put into the ark the testimony which I will give you. You shall make a mercy seat of pure gold, 2.5 cubits shall be its length, and a cubit and a half its width. And you shall make 2 cherubim of gold of hammered work, you shall make them at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. Make 1 cherub at one end, and the other cherub at the other end. You shall make the cherubim at the 2 ends of it of one piece with the mercy seat. And the cherubim shall stretch out their wings above, covering the mercy seat with their wings, and they shall face one another. The faces of the cherubim shall be toward the mercy seat. You shall put the mercy seat on top of the ark, and in the ark you shall put the testimony that I will give you. And there I will meet with you, and I will speak with you from above the mercy seat, from between the 2 cherubim which are on the ark of the testimony, about everything which I will give you in commandment to the children of Israel. So, as we just read, God gives Moses extremely detailed instructions about how he is supposed to get the ark built. The kind of wood, the exact kind of measurements, the gold overlays, the cherubim on the top, the mercy seat, so on and so forth. And every single thing has to be followed to the T. Why? Because this is where God was going to be meeting with his people, right there on the mercy seat. Imagine this: the God who created all things, from tiny little atoms to the stars and the galaxies and planets and the ocean and the animals and birds and trees and flowers and the air that we breathe and so on. The Holy One, this uncreated being that has always existed, was going to be visiting and meeting with man. Obviously, his meeting place had to be absolutely perfect, right? I mean, his presence is no small thing. So God goes into extreme detail about how perfect it needs to be. Everything has to be exact, flawless, and holy. But here's the mind-blowing revelation that I got. God doesn't dwell in an ark or a temple made by human hands anymore. So where does he stay, you might ask? Well, let's look at what the Apostle Paul has to say about it. Let's read from 1 Corinthians 3:16. Do you not know that you are the temple of God and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? Let that sink in. The same God who demanded flawless specifications for the ark looks at us with all our flaws and insecurities and imperfections, all our pimples or acne or scars or height differences or color differences or whatever it is that you think makes you inferior. God looks at all of that and says, "This is where I want to dwell. You are perfect for me." Can you see it? You are his walking, talking, living, breathing dwelling place. You are his home. That's so good, right? I mean, how many times have we believed lies like, I'm worthless, I'm a mistake, I'll never be good enough, I'm ugly, I'll never be loved. Maybe people have said things over you. Maybe you've said them over yourself. But the creator of galaxies, the God who makes oceans roar and stars burn bright, looks at you and says, "No, I designed you with care. I made you wonderfully. You are exactly who I want you to be. You're my dwelling place."
If God makes such a huge deal about details, if he took time to make creation so stunning, if he required the ark to be so perfect for his presence, and then he turns around and chooses you to be his dwelling place, then you better believe you are absolute perfection. You are not a mistake. You are chosen and loved, a perfect masterpiece.
So that is the message of today's video, that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. You are His masterpiece and dwelling place. And I hope these two paintings remind you of that every single time you see them.
So, this is what our finished paintings look like.
If you were blessed by today's video, we'd love it if you subscribed. And if you know someone who needs a reminder about their worth, please do share this video with them. And also let us know how you felt when you watched this video. Do comment down below.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you were blessed by it and see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.